Basically, what Saylor gets to do is he gets to go out there in the market and say, our stock's trading at a premium because people are willing to pay a premium for this, because when Bitcoin goes up $1, our stock goes up $1.2. And people kind of like that idea of this beta. So they're willing to pay a little bit more to get access to our stock. So I'm going to actually sell this stock for cash that I'm going to use to accumulate more Bitcoin. And it's this flywheel. And he gets to sell the stock, and he doesn't take all of every single dollar and use it to buy Bitcoin. He actually has to use some of that cash for operating expenses and paying people and all sorts of stuff. So he actually ends up as well making money on this. And I think what the rest of the world realized is, wait a second, why should we leave this financial engineering game solely to Saylor? Like, why can't we do this too? There's nothing special about what he's doing other than the fact that the MicroStrategy now has a higher beta than Bitcoin does. So why don't we just spin up a public company that does the exact same thing that MicroStrategy does, and we'll take a piece of this pie. Like we'll siphon off some of the demand from MicroStrategy, or maybe we'll even create more demand. Now there are two types of things that have popped up. They're the ones abroad. So this is the meta planets of the world that are trying to create new demand. There's some stuff happening in Brazil as well, and I think we're going to see more things happening in other jurisdictions. And then there's this most recent announcement by Cantor that they're raising $3 billion for what is effectively an MSTR competitor. Basically, people realize that Bitcoin is a really great asset to play this game with, and that's very bullish for Bitcoin.
Yes. Now, my understanding of the MSTR trade is that MicroStrategy has a real business. Like they sell, I haven't looked into it too deeply, but they sell products to end users, right? There's it's
very, very, very tiny. Like very tiny.
There's some kind of revenue going on there. And originally, I'm accounting and finance is a weakness of mine, but like my understanding is that legitimate old school business generates some net income that covers the interest service for Saylor's
that was
Bitcoins
true. That was true 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'm getting there. So now what he's done is he's extended himself past that point, right? So now like he has to sell shares to buy more, basically sell shares to cover the interest payments for the debt that he's raised to buy Bitcoin. And so there is a scenario, like at least MicroStrategy is a real business that contributes some net income to that interest payment service. But what I'm skeptical about with these other MSTR competitors is like, why would anybody invest in an SPV or like some vehicle whose sole purpose is to raise debt to buy Bitcoin? To me, that feels a little bit worrisome and Ponzi-ish, because it's not non-recourse leverage. Like you could, those vehicles could absolutely get liquidated in a spectacular cascade. And they probably will if Bitcoin trades down 30-40%. They'll probably accelerate it.
I mean, the bet is effectively that, well, the reason there are two investors that we're talking about here. The first is the people that are investing in it at the deal level. And then there are the people that buy it when it hits the open market. Very obvious why people are investing in it at the deal level. And that's because they're offering it at like a 10% premium, right? So they're saying, you give us, we're going to raise $100 million and we're going to buy $100 million worth of Bitcoin, and we're going to charge you $110 million valuation to give us this money. Because the moment that it hits the public market, it's going to trade at the same premium as MicroStrategy, and it's going to 2x.
Yes.
And so you basically get your free money. And
we just described crypto VC right there.
Right. And we get to kickstart this. We get to kickstart this business, right? Because that's really what they want, right? They want to list it at a 10% premium, and then people go, "What a great arb! It's the same thing as MicroStrategy. Let's go buy this thing." And you don't even have to short the other. You could, if you were more sophisticated, short the MicroStrategy, buy this thing, try to play that premium convergence, or just buy this thing outright because you think 10% is way too low. So on the deal level, total sense why people are, I mean, this is like this is now, as somebody on the inside, this is now like the most common thing that we're getting pitched is this type of structure, whether it's for Solana, Bitcoin, whatever jurisdiction. This is like the most common thing that's coming across our desk. And I do think it's going to work kind of the same way that GBTC worked, which is that it worked really, really, really well until it massively imploded and then a bunch of people lost money.
It reminds me of GBTC so much. Like I'm starting to get a little worried about this. This is like, you know, I tend to have my blinders on, think long term. Like, you know, I think that Bitcoin is going to the moon. I don't really view many risks as being salient right now. This is a big one. Like this, when it was all covered by MSTR's real business, you know, it sort of made sense to me. But like now that it's just turning into this kind of unfettered, debt fueled bonanza, that I think it's totally, you're just basically like, all right, what's the price at which the Bitcoin price at which all of these entities, these SPVs, whatever you want to call them, get liquidated? And I should probably buy puts struck at that level during peak euphoria. Because it could, I mean, that's when the market could move fast. That's when you want to own optionality.